I will be running 3 batteries in a stock / two-wheel drive, and this is one of them. This is a TeamPowers competition battery. Now, I want to give an idea for the runtime as well as speeds. There is a difference between these batteries. Now, all of them are 4200 milliamp hours, so 4200 milliamp hours. This one here happens to be 120 Cs, 7.6 volts. At the end of the video, I'm also going to have the top speed after this video where I weigh them. This one has 5mm bullet connectors. I will have the top speeds at the end. Now this one weighs at 156 grams. The connector adapter that I'm going to be using, it has a mass of approximately 25 grams. Now from time to time I may say weight, I may say mass, but I'm referring to the same thing. Now this one here was $65 as of the time of this video. The previous battery that I weighed, TeamPowers, that one there, this one was about $70, so about $5 more. But this one here, again, 4,200 milliamp hours. This one's 25C, so the discharge rate is significantly less compared to the other one, and voltage 7.4. That's what it reads. But it's still a good battery. The only thing about this one is it is a soft case, and this is something I don't really like. If you're going to be bashing, consider a hard case. But look at the difference in the dimensions. This one here is thinner, well, I guess shorter, but it's also a lot shorter this way. So it's not as tall and it's not as long. The Traxxas one is longer and taller. And this is a soft case despite it being bigger. But this one, let's see, mass at 232, so it's significantly heavier than this one. Again, if you want to add the 25 for the connector, I would put that other one at 180, but still, that's about 60 gram difference. Now here, this is the nickel metal hydrate ID. This one's 8.4 volts. Now there's always a difference between these batteries when it comes to voltage. This one was 55 at the time of this video. That's how much I paid for it right here. There is a version that is less voltage. It doesn't have that battery on the top, that little hump. But let's see, this one comes in at 481 grams. It is very heavy. It doubles the other one. It quadruples, actually no, 3 times more this one. That one double. So there's a significant weight difference between them, but if we look at it, what you are paying for is 8.4 volts and the Traxxas ID. So if you're using the Traxxas charger, you just plug it in, the charger will automatically detect it. This one as well, this one will automatically go into LiPo mode. But that is the advantage of paying the extra money for the Traxxas batteries. If you want something that's relatively carefree versus more consistent, carefree, top one, consistent, bottom one. Those are really your choices between them, less maintenance. Now here, you have soft case versus hard case. And there's a difference in runtime. Nickel metal hydrate battery, over 7 minutes. The other one, almost 10 minutes. So the short one gives you more time. So this one will be slower but longest runtime out of them all, and part of it has to do because of the C rating. Top speed initially will be this one right here, but then it sags off and it's really slow compared to the other one, so it's not as consistent. But let me show you the runtime videos. Now this is the nickel metal hydrate battery. This is the very first one. Now runs on something like this, the grass is very, very tall at some parts. Some parts it's a little lower, and you can see how the truck handles it, so it'll speed up, then it'll bog down on the lighter grass. This is a park that I found, and I did this on purpose just to load the battery really. The runtime on this nickel metal hydrate battery is going to be about 7 minutes 30 seconds, about 7.5, which is not bad, but then again, if you think about how long it takes to charge, they all take about the same time to charge, so that wasn't part of the experiment. But something like this, you would need a lot of nickel metal hydrate batteries to actually just drive around and have fun. If you want to be out here for an hour driving, you're going to need a few of those packs if it's only going to last you 7.5 minutes. Let's just say 10 minutes as you swap the battery and you just keep going. You're looking at about 6 packs. And the time it takes to charge, if you have a dual charger, I mean if you have a quad charger, go for it. But if you only have a dual charger, you're going to be charging for about 2 hours. It really depends on the rate. But at that point, go nitro. I'm kidding. I mean, electric has its advantages, but I am a nitro fan. And for something like this, I would actually probably go with one. But that's not the point. You are interested in these batteries, and I'm just running it back and forth. For the most part, I try to keep to a general area. Once in a while, on all of these 3 tests, I may have to stay to one side, so I may just run here in this particular area, or I may run on that particular area, and that's because people decide to walk on the grass here on this park, so I was trying to just avoid them. Now, if I do crash, one of the things that I keep doing is I'll bleep the throttle, keep accelerating. If I get stuck, I'm just going to keep the wheels going to try to simulate a constant runtime. That way I don't have to go through and just, minus a second here, minus a second there. Now the truck is a stock slash. I am not running the stock body, but I'm running the same body all the time, same truck, because I wanted to keep it consistent. This is a brushed motor. This is a Titan 12-turn motor. I do like the system, so if you're getting started, this is probably something you would get. It actually works quite well, and it's stock gearing, and the motor has good temperatures. Now, I'm not here to see if the motor can handle it or not. It could. Never overheated. But notice how the truck, once it gets here to the dirt and wants to accelerate, well actually it's just rooster tails, but as soon as it hits that high grass, it drops off. Now, toward the end of this particular session, in a few minutes, you're going to see how the speed is actually going to drop. And that's one of the things about nickel metal hydride batteries. They do begin to sag and start going slower, even though you have a high initial voltage, which will give you initially more speed. Something that you could possibly try, I guess. I mean, I haven't seen a rule against this, but let's say you were running a stock class, a stock slash class, or Fortec class. You could run a nickel metal hydride battery during qualifiers just to give you that extra voltage and that extra speed. Try to TQ, and then for the actual main, swap for a lithium polymer battery or a LiPo battery, just so you have the consistent laps. Because when you're qualifying, you're just looking for that high lap. I mean, is it really fair? Well, I would say no, but I have not seen anything in the rules for many places that you cannot do that, unless it says LiPo battery only. But usually, it will limit the milliamp hours, not the type of voltage. Now, if it says only 2S batteries allowed, well, guess what? You cannot use nickel metal hydride battery. So then that strategy would not work. Now, keep in mind that people try crazy stuff and weird stuff, weird things, and sometimes they don't get caught, so maybe it'll work out for you. But this one here, again, nickel metal hydride battery will give you the best initial speed, mainly because of that voltage. You're looking at 8.4 volts, which will sag. I did not record the voltage before running the vehicles. I do record the voltage at the end. So at the end of these runs, I will be giving a voltage check on them. You will see that at the end, even though I didn't have power to propel the truck anymore, the voltage is still higher out of the 3 batteries on this particular one. So that's something else. If you are just getting batteries, let's just say you used to have an RC car when you were a child, now you're older and you decided to get another one, or sometimes parents, or you're a parent, you decide to get one for your child. The advantage of a nickel metal hydride battery is just easy maintenance, and many chargers, if you get the Traxxas batteries, for example, with the Traxxas charger, they will cycle and condition the batteries for you. It takes minimal thinking, to be honest, which is why some people do get the Traxxas charger. I have, as of the time of this video, a high-tech charger, which I really like. It has more features, more settings. It charges at a higher amp rate, well, potentially, right? It can go up to 10 amps. Versus the Traxxas ID charger, the basic one I believe charges at 4 amps. They do have some others that charge a little faster. But unless you get the Bluetooth model, you are not going to be able to see any settings such as voltage at that time, percentage, resistance, etc. It's just these little green and red lights, maybe even yellow. They just flash and you follow everything. I used to have one of those. I gave it to my nephew, as I had no need for it. But that's the reason why you would still get a nickel metal hydride battery. So nickel metal hydride batteries still have their purpose, their use. They're still very practical batteries. You don't have to worry about whether they're fully charged when you're storing them as much, or completely down to zero. These batteries you could run dead, as opposed to LiPos will begin to puff up. And from time to time, they may even catch fire. That is a possibility. Now, which batteries do I prefer? The other ones. But notice how this truck no longer has the power. It's still running. I'm just bringing it in. It'll hit this tall grass right here, and that's it. It's dead. Full throttle, nothing. This is the battery. It's actually pretty hot. It's very warm. That's what happens. Notice the sticker. This was a brand new battery first time I ran it. I mean, the sticker's coming off. That's something you don't have to worry. Here's the LiPo. I want to put the LiPo in there. And that's one of the things about LiPos. LiPos run a lot cooler. The batteries do. After this one, I'm going to take it off, and it'll be a decent temperature. Whereas that one was hot. I could probably take that battery and just put it in a jacket pocket and keep my hands warm with it. That's how hot that one was. Now, when switching back and forth on a Traxxas vehicle, and many other brands as well, but I'm focusing on Traxxas because this is a Traxxas, you want to make sure that you switch the mode in the ESC. So in this case, I had it in nickel metal hydride mode. Now I want to go into LiPo mode. So I'm just going to press and hold the button after I turn it on. And it usually takes about 10 seconds. And then it'll bleep, and then the light will turn a different color. So it's red for nickel metal hydride and green for LiPo. So that is it. So it's in LiPo, green light, and it is time to run it. So I'm going to be setting this in the same area, and I'm just going to start running it. I'm going to try to stay within the same little area, just as the other one, to make it a little more fair and a little more consistent. But again, once in a while, even though the park is massive, somebody will want to cross right through the path that I am enjoying. But this one does have more power initially once it's under load. The other one has a greater top speed on concrete because there isn't much load. But here you can tell the difference. Even when it took off on the grass, if you were to just compare those two little bits, this one took off with more power. So it's once the nickel metal hydride battery is really under load, that's when you're going to notice the difference. LiPo is just going to do much better under, say, stressful driving conditions versus the nickel metal hydride battery. Which one to get? It really depends on the individual and the use. Like I keep saying, nickel metal hydride, you don't have to think much of it. So if the person with the RC is maybe 4 years old, 10 years old, nickel metal hydride may be the best option. Because if a child forgets to storage charge a LiPo battery, it'll puff up and it'll damage, and that's a lot of money down the drain. Now, Traxxas batteries tend to be expensive. They are expensive. For $70, one could probably buy two 4,000 milliamp Gen Ace batteries, or there are some other ones. EcoPower, for example, makes 5,000 milliamp hour batteries for about, I want to say somewhere between $30 and $40. So it's almost two of those. But the voltage is lower. This one's 8.4. Those are 7.6, I want to say. The tree got on the way, it jumped. Man, somebody's got to call the park manager for this recreational area. So right here it's actually stuck, but I'm still spinning the wheels because I still want to consume the battery as if it were running the entire time. So I'm not going to take time away for that. I'm just going to keep running it. And again, if I flip it, I will do the same. I'm just going to try to keep the wheels going without ballooning the tires and damaging them. These are non-belted tires. The tires I'm running are Traxxas SC. These, I think, are some of the best tires for short course for something like this. Stock tires, not really the best. And I actually enjoy that little jump right there with the tall grass, but here we go again. This battery is going to yield about 10 minutes, 13 seconds, so you will get just over 10 minutes, let's say 10 minutes, compared to the nickel metal hydrate counterpart, which is approximately 7.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes does make a difference when it comes to runtime. If we remember from the other one, in order to run an hour, we would need about 6 packs. For this one, say 10 minutes, let's round it to 15, we would only need 4 packs, so that's 2 less battery packs. The initial cost is more between the 2 batteries, but we are spending money on only 4 packs instead of 6. So we're looking at $65 times 4. Which is 140. No, what am I saying? That would be the price for two of them would be 130. So 260 for 4 of them. Whereas the other packs, given their price, would be more expensive, given that they were $55 and we're doing that times 6, so that's over $300. It's about $330. Versus 260, so that's a significant difference. What one could almost buy a 5th LiPo for the same amount of money and have more runtime. The only thing, again, depends on the charger. Well, I guess that's an advantage. One can invest the difference in a better charger, dual charger, or maybe even another charger. But here's the truck. And one of the things that I do like about LiPos is, again, speed is generally pretty consistent. The voltage just does drop off as it goes. As you consume the charge, it drops off, right? Every cell starts off at, say, 4.20. Overall, once it's fully charged, a LiPo battery will have a voltage of about 8.4, and after running it, this voltage can drop down to 7.4, for example, or let's just say 7.0. Again, you don't want to run anything flat. This one here, after it's done running, it'll be down to about 7%, which is still pretty low, a little too low to be honest, but I was just going based on the ESC. Once it drops off, that's where I'm stopping. But the nickel metal hydride battery does start off with a higher voltage. And really, if one calculates the difference in voltage between the 2 batteries, there isn't really a performance difference between the 2 initially. Meaning the nickel metal hydride battery should be much, much faster than the LiPo battery, but it is not. It really is not much faster. Now, I've done some tests with different LiPo batteries. The Traxxas nickel metal hydride batteries, compared to other nickel metal hydride batteries, I think are pretty good. There was a test that I did with a nickel metal hydrate battery versus a LiPo battery. And the LiPo was faster than nickel metal hydrate battery every time, but that nickel metal hydrate battery was a 7.2. Nickel metal hydrate batteries tend to be either 7.2 or 8.4. The one that I used in this truck before this LiPo that I'm running right now was an 8.4. That's why that one is faster. The other video was a 7.2. Now, it doesn't seem like much, but that 0.2 volts difference makes a difference. The interesting thing is that given that a 2S LiPo is 7.4, 7.6 for the TeamPowers battery, and the nickel metal hydrate battery is 8.4. So let's compare the 7.4 to 8.4. It's 1 entire volt difference. The difference isn't as great as I was hoping for, to be honest, when the batteries are fully charged and then run. Why? I have no idea. Well, actually I do have an idea. It has to do with the consistency, just the drop off on nickel metal hydrate batteries when it's put to load. Now, toward the end, I am going to do the voltage reading, so I'm going to take the voltage reading with a multimeter of all 3 batteries after I have run them all. So at this point I'm just running this one. This one shouldn't last very long now, but it's already matched, if not surpassed, the nickel metal hydrate battery, and it's still running. Again, the only downside is the soft pack. Now on the Traxxas Slash, if it's something like this, soft packs will work because they're in the center of the chassis, and see, like I said, people keep running. There's so much space in the park. But the little tie, the battery tie, that one will pop off on a very hard impact. So if you are running, say, a 3S battery on a brushless system, you can damage batteries really fast on impact if they fly out, and then you can drag the batteries. So that's something to keep in mind. That's the reason why I do prefer the hard packs. But if you're running a brush system or only 2S, you will be fine as long as you're not taking hard impacts, tumbling really hard, because that little clip that holds the battery tie sometimes does come out. And next thing you know, you drop a battery and you destroy it. And if you're buying Traxxas batteries, they are a premium battery. And that's going to be quite a penny you're going to be spending on that. So that's something to consider. Hard packs, yes, you can damage them, but the hard casing can generally take a very hard impact before it actually gives out. But here we go. This truck is about done. I'm not really going to run it anymore. I'm actually going to come back. That's about 10 minutes, and I'm going to bring it through this tall grass again like I did the other one. And once you notice this drop off, don't run anymore. This is full throttle, but I'm going to stop it now. Let's go to the other pack. Now, this is a shorty pack. It's already connected. This one here will yield a runtime of about 950. So compared to the other one, this one has a slightly shorter runtime. But notice again when it takes off through the grass, how much quicker it is than the nickel metal hydride truck. So that's something important to keep in mind. And I'm going to have another video where I show just the beginnings and the battery, sort of to sum up. They managed to flip back up. And part of the reasons why it has that is because of the C rating. The battery is able to provide the amperage that the electronics need to keep up the speed. And that's also one of the reasons why these batteries run cooler than the nickel metal hydride batteries. Nickel metal hydride batteries can simply not provide the same amount of amperage needed by the system to maintain a certain speed compared to the lipopolymer batteries, the LiPo batteries. And this is one of the important things when selecting a battery once you know the purpose. If you're going to be racing, definitely get the higher C rating. If you're not going to be racing and you have a system that is not very demanding, you can sacrifice C rating and just go with, say, 25, just like the Traxxas ones. Now, the Traxxas connectors are very good connectors, and the wire that they use is also very good wire. That also makes a difference. The other thing, too, is this. I'm not running one connector into another connector into another connector. Every time there's more, say, electrical plumbing, that's going to create more resistance, and it will be more difficult for the system to receive the amperage that it needs. But the truck, as you can see, is pretty fun. Now, 3S, if you have the Valinion system, is a lot quicker than this. But I don't know, if you really want something faster than this, you need to find an area that has shorter grass, or is only dirt, or just pavement. I like nitro vehicles. That's something else to consider. But this one, as it is, runs the same. And as I mentioned, this is a stock two-wheel drive Traxxas Slash with the Titan 12-turn motor, the XL5 ESC. Gearing is stock. Nothing has changed. From the first run to now, I am running DE wheels with Proline Trencher SE tires. I think Proline Trencher's SE tires are probably some of the best tires for this type of terrain or for running like this. They run well even on pavement, even though they are an off-road tire. The body, that is a Raptor body without the front end. I actually put this on a Techno SET 410.3, ran it on carpet, and then after a few little crashes here and there, I was tweaking the truck, trying to get it to run well. The front end just broke off, so I ended up just snipping whatever was still holding it on. And I think it looks pretty good. And I think I'm going to run this body on this truck, which means I need to trim that rear end so it fits the bumper better. So, again, the differences between them. The voltage is going to matter. If you get a nickel metal hydrate battery that is 7.2 volts, it's going to be slower, it's going to sag more, it's probably not going to run very well on this type of surface. Now, the nickel metal hydrate battery that I tested in this video is an 8.4. It's going to do well. It is going to yield the greater top speed on pavement, as I will demonstrate toward the end. The other LiPo batteries, if you have a Traxxas LiPo battery, such as the one I'm testing, that's a 7.4 25C, it will do well. You will have the longest runtime. If you have a more competition-oriented battery, 7.6 volts, you will get a little higher speed than the 7.4 LiPo battery, but you're going to get a little less charge. But again, it depends why you're buying it. Are you buying it for the runtime, or are you buying it for the speed? If you're buying it for the speed, then who cares? You're not going to be in a race for more than 10 minutes. I mean, most races are somewhere between 4 and 6. It really depends. I'm just using those numbers. But for example, VTA races tend to be 8 minutes. Euro Truck, I think they're usually 8 minutes as well. Whereas other touring car races are usually 5 minutes. And off-road, it depends on the class. So that's something you want to keep in mind. As far as runtime, all of these batteries will finish the race. If you're bashing and you just want the longer possible time, well, first of all, you're going to need a higher milliamp hour rating because these are only 4,200. These are small batteries as far as capacity is concerned. There's batteries out there 6,000. There's some that are over 8,000. There are some that are even over 9,000 batteries. All depends on what you want and how much you're willing to spend. You know, some people would say the sky is the limit. And then astronaut chuckles. I'm kidding. That was a horrible joke. But again, it all depends on how much you want to spend. But this one runs very, very well. And like I keep saying, if I end up crashing or rolling on all of these, I just kept bleeping the throttle or running it. I think I'm going to roll it. Well, I already did once. Just to keep it running. There is a price difference between them, but again, if you have a Traxxas charger, Traxxas batteries are just very easy to charge on a Traxxas charger. You really don't have to think much other than plug and play. Plug it in, push the corresponding buttons, and you're good to go. The other chargers, you have to select menus. So if you don't want to select menus, then go with the Traxxas charger. But keep in mind that for the price of the Traxxas equipment, you could have bought some competition style equipment or charger that can charge at a higher amperage. Something to consider. Now, if you want your batteries to last longer, you're going to be charging at the amperage that it is rated for. So if it's a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, you're going to be charging at no more than 5 amps, which is 1C. 4,000 milliamp hour battery, 4 amps. People that generally race charge much higher than that, which is why they generally have shorter lifespan. They will get just a few charges. Every year they're getting new batteries, sometimes even sooner, because the batteries will generally last about 300 cycles. So in a season, they'll easily hit the 300. So here, notice I'm still bleeping. I'm just trying not to balloon the tire too much because then it'll damage the tire if it hits the body. But it's still running, so there it goes. But yes, keep all of that in mind. C ratings, purpose. The biggest thing is budget, purpose, or purpose and budget. Both of those things together. So after this run, this battery will be dying in a bit. Not much, actually, right here. That's pretty much as low as I want to go. So I'm just going to bring it back because I already saw a little drop. Some systems actually just cut off completely. So my Tekin systems, it just shuts off and doesn't run anymore. I think Hobbywig and Castle do the same thing. But let's bring her in. This one here was actually at about 4%, but there we go, full throttle. Now, let's go to the voltage. And for voltage, so I have all 3 batteries. They're all spent, but here we go. So this is the Shorty TeamPowers competition. So we're looking at 7.06 volts. So that's just over 350. You really don't want to go lower than that. For me, I think that's a little too low. But that's about 7%. Now for the Traxxas LiPo, this one here, actually the other one's about, yeah, it's about 7%. So this one's 673. This one's about 4%. You really don't want to go lower than that. That's pretty low. You'll shorten the lifespan. But notice this one. This one's going to have a very high voltage. This one here is at 826. That is pretty high. Now, the battery does say 8.4 on this one, and these are 7.4, 7.6. But when you're using them fresh, this one here, the voltage is actually really high. It's over 10 volts versus the other ones. The other ones are generally this one here and that one 8.4. Yeah, usually 8.4. You don't want to go higher than that on these. But that's something to keep in mind. Now, I hope this was useful. I'm going to have the speed runs after this with these batteries, both of them, and this one right over here. So here we go. Let's move on. And here are the speed runs. So I'm going to start with the nickel metal hydrate battery. Now this is when they're freshly freshly charged, so fully charged, and then I'm going to run them, charge them again, and then, well, you already saw the rest of it. So this is actually reverse order. If we look at that, just that little run, it already reached top speed. This one is 42 kilometers per hour. which is pretty good for a stock slash. This is why speed really depends on the battery that you are running as well, voltage. Now, if this were a regular 7.2 volt nickel metal hydrate battery, it would not be this fast. It would not break 40 kilometers per hour. But here we go. This is the second, and for this one, should be pretty close. 41, 42 would be a good number. Let's see what we have. So we have now 42. So again, 26 miles per hour, 26.1. Pretty good. For somebody that's just going to be running about, around the house. Well, maybe not around the house, but a small little area. This is very good. Or even the park, as you saw me running it. Now, I do have to swap out the battery, and again, I am going, so I already showed this on the park bit, but here I will have to switch from nickel metal hydrate mode to LiPo mode. Now, usually with Traxxas vehicles, if they are in nickel metal hydrate mode and one puts in a LiPo battery, it will run, but you run the risk of running your LiPo flat, and then you could damage the LiPo. But if one runs in LiPo mode and connects a nickel metal hydrate battery, it will usually not run. So that's something important to note. But here it is, everything's zeroed out, we're going to go, and this one is going to be the slower battery. So the slower one, I'll just go ahead and take the truck out to about the same, actually stopped a little sooner. If I actually continued all the way to the car, that would be about another kilometer per hour. So on this one, I'm not going to redo this one, so I'll just take this one as 37. But keep in mind, I could have picked up another kilometer had I gone to the white vehicle. So I'm going to run it a second time right now, see what I get. And with the nickel metal hydrate battery, again, I actually ran it to the white vehicle. It doesn't seem like very much difference, but those extra, say 5 meters can make the difference between a kilometer or not. But this is really just to get an idea, an impression. So 37, both times 37 kilometers per hour, which does make a difference because that's 3 miles per hour if we were to put that in miles per hour. Compared to the nickel metal hydrate battery, which was running about 26. So we're looking at about 5 kilometers per hour difference, right? 37 to 42 on the other one, which is the difference that a volt will make. So voltage, again, voltage, if you're looking for speed, is your friend. Unless you overdo voltage, then you're just everything's gonna catch on fire. Now here is the other battery. This one is the 7.6. And we're gonna go ahead and power it on and then run it. So with this one here, because it has the higher C rating and the higher voltage capability for the same amount of milliamp hours, think about it as more pressure. So it's the same amount of, if it were water, it would be the same amount of water with greater pressure. That's why this one is going to be faster. Now, here, I'm going to run, this is way too short, but I'm going to run it there just to show the difference between this LiPo and the other LiPo for Traxxas. And even with the shorter distance, this one is going to be faster. So here we go, bringing it back. And again, had I run it the same distance, it would have picked up another kilometer or two. So that's faster than the other one. 38, not that much faster, but it's still faster on a shorter distance. Now we'll go ahead and run it a longer distance this time, and you will notice. Now, while I'm running it, if you have not subscribed already, please do. Please comment below as well, and if you have ideas for future videos, let me know. So there, that's a little longer distance. I'm going to stop it there. Not much. This one, if I actually ran this truck longer, I could probably match the speed of the other one. But here we go, 39. So please, go ahead and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one.
Oh, what? Oh, my hair! My car! My rod!